Very good morning, everyone. We are here in the topic propagation of sound waves. You might have heard about the alarm, the sound of alarm, church bell, the horn of vehicles, traffic noises, the sound of school bell, and the sound of musical instrument. All those things are the source of sound. They are the sources of sound. They can produce the sound. So, what is sound? Sound is a form of energy. This sentence is important. Sound is a form of energy. Okay, so the definition is sound is a form of energy that produces a sensation of hearing in our ears. Okay, so let's see that how the sound is produced. So the thing is that sound is produced by vibration of a body, and for that I have taken a picture from a book. You should open your book and you should see the book. Here this one is a rubber string. Okay, this one is a rubber string. It is stretched and it is plucked from the middle position, and then what happened? As it is plucked, it will go first down, then go up, then go down. You can see these arrows represent the up down movement. That means the vibration, and that means this rubber string started to vibrate. Okay, now as it is started to vibrate, so you can hear a sound. So that means what? That vibrating rubber string produces a sound. This is the first experiment, and we have 5 experiments here. See the next experiment. This is suppose a wire, okay, a stretched wire with the 2 supports. Now if we plug the wire up here from the middle, then what happened? The wire also started to vibrate. See here, when it is plugged, it will go up, then go down, then again go to mid position, then again go up, again go down. So this cycle continues, and from this vibrating stretched wire, you can also hear a sound. So that means this vibration also produces sound. We can see that it is vibrating, but here in the next picture we have a vibration of a tuning fork. See, what is tuning fork? Tuning fork is actually a apparatus, and this apparatus is used to produce a constant frequency, a vibration of constant frequency. So these things, this tuning fork we used in the physics lab, okay, and used to produce the constant frequency, vibration of constant frequency. So for the vibration, firstly this tuning fork is hit on a rubber pad. Whenever it is hit on a rubber pad, these are the 2 arms, which is called the prong of the tuning fork. Those 2 arms started to vibrate. That means it will go like that. Okay, that means, yeah, like that. So here in this condition, this is vibrating. Suppose, as I told you, we can see the vibration of the rubber string or the stretched wire, but here this in this tuning fork the vibration is very slight. Okay, that means the displacement of this arm is very less. That means very less, it cannot be visible. So in order to confirm that it is vibrating, we can do a short experiment here. We will put a suspended thermocol ball near the vibrating tuning fork. When it is hit on a rubber pad, then this thermocol ball is taken closer to this arm of this tuning fork. Then what we found, that this thermocol ball is displacing toward this. So that means what? This particular arm is vibrating. When it comes back, when the thermocol ball comes back to this position, then again this vibrating arm hits the ball, and this ball, see from this picture you can easily understand. Here this one is the thermocol ball, this one is the vibrating tuning fork. When it is hit the ball is displacing to this position, and the ball comes back, and again this tuning fork, this vibrating arm hits the ball, and the ball goes toward this. So this confirms that this tuning fork is vibrating, and as it is vibrating, we can, if we try, we can hear a sound that comes out from this. We can detect a minor sound. That's why I am telling that we can try. We should try to hear the sound, and we can hear the minor sound comes out from this tuning fork. Okay, so here also it confirms that the vibrating tuning fork produces a sound. Go to the next experiment. This one is the last experiment. Suppose this one is a membrane. Okay, suppose a membrane of a drum. When this membrane is hit by our hand or by a stick, then this membrane first go down, then go up. So in this way it go down, up, down, up. So in this way it is vibrating. If we can't see the vibration, we can put some thermocol balls here, and we can find that the thermocol balls started to jump. So that means this confirms that this whenever it is heated, it is vibrating. It goes first down, go up, then go down, go up, like that. And as it is vibrating, and you know that if it is a drum and it is heated, then you can hear a sound. So the sound comes out from this vibrating membrane. So from all those experiments, we come to the conclusion that a vibrating body is a source of sound. That means any vibrating body is able to produce a sound. Correct? So now go to the next topic. Yeah, the sound is a form of energy. I have told you this is an important sentence. Sound is a form of energy. So where the word energy comes here? You know that sound is produced by the vibration of a body, and the vibration is possible only when some mechanical energy is provided to the body. If mechanical energy provided to the body, then the body started to vibrate, and this vibration creates a disturbance in the medium. That means we can hear a sound because of this vibrating body. So why we can hear a sound? See, when mechanical energy provided to a body, then this body started to vibrate, and this vibration can produce a sound. So why it can produce a sound? See, this vibration creates a disturbance in the surrounding medium. That means the medium around the vibrating object. Okay, the vibrating object creates a disturbance in the particles of the medium. And then what happened? In the form of wave, this disturbance, which is actually the energy, is reaches to our ear or any of the sensing organ. Correct? And if we talk about the ear, inside our ear there is a thin membrane, and this thin membrane is started to vibrate because of this disturbance. Okay, and we can detect this vibration of the membrane, and we can sense the sound. Correct? So here the medium that carries the sound. Okay, medium is required. That means the disturbance is carried by the particles of the medium. Now see the next page. Here the propagation of sound waves that I have told you requires a material medium. Okay, so see the statement, as a vibrating body creates a disturbance. As a vibrating body creates a disturbance in the particles of the medium. The medium may be solid, liquid or gas. So as the particles are disturbed, so this disturbance of the particle is shifted from one particle or one place to another particle or another place. Correct? And in this way, this disturbance carrying energy from one place to another place. Correct? So I have mentioned one more sentence here, that in the absence of any material medium, sound cannot be propagate or travel. Okay, so material medium is required, and in the material medium the particles are present. Whenever the particles are disturbed, this disturbance of the particle is taken from one place to another place. Okay, one particle to another particle. Okay, that means one particle disturb the next particle, and the next one disturb the next one. Correct? So see, this is the bell jar experiment, and from this experiment we can ensure that we can confirm that sound cannot propagate in the absence of material medium. So let's see how this experiment can be performed. See, this one is a jar. Okay, and this one is an electric bell. This electric bell is arranged with complete circuiting. The switch is given, complete connection is also given to the that means it is completely in a state that whenever the switch on, it will started to ring. See, this one at the bottom is a vacuum pipe. Okay, that means from this pipe, vacuum pump is connected, so the air inside the jar can be taken out from this vacuum pipe. Correct? Now the first step is to switch on the electric bell. Whenever we switched it on, then what happened? The bell started to ring. That means this hammer strikes the gong. Okay, this hammer strikes the gong and this gong started to vibrate, and as this gong started to vibrate, it will disturb the air particles near to this. Okay, and those particles disturb the next particle, and in this way the air particles carry the disturbance from one particle to another particle to this surface of this jar. Okay, and then this jar, the surface of the jar also started to vibrate, even this over complete jar started to vibrate. Okay, and as this jar started to vibrate, so sound can be heard, as because this surface of the jar disturb the air particles outside the jar. Okay, and from the outside of the jar the air particles now proceed or carry the disturbance to our ear or any sensing device or any sensing organ. Correct, and we can detect that there is a sound, the sound is coming, sound can be heard. Correct. Now we go to the next step, that take the if we take the air out through this vacuum pipe, that means slowly the air is taken out from this vacuum pipe and the bell is continuously ringing. But what we found here, as the air is taken out, the sound become faint, the sound is slowly goes softer. Okay, and finally when no air is present, that means complete air is taken out and this inside of the jar become complete vacuum, then no any sound comes out from this electric bell, even if the bell is ringing. So how we can see that bell is ringing? Because we can see the hammer is hitting the gong. Okay, because this jar is transparent, we can see the hammer is hitting the gong, but no any sound can be here because the complete air is taken out from this vacuum pump and no air is present inside the jar. So when the hammer is hitting the gong is vibrating, but in near the gong there is no any air particle, so the disturbance cannot be carried to this surface. So what we say, no sound is not traveling, okay, from its source. Gong is the source, gong is the vibrating body, so no any sound here when there is no any material medium. So the final sentence is that a material medium is necessary for the propagation of sound from one place to another place. Correct. So now I'm going to the next point, the properties of a medium for the propagation of sound. The first property is that the medium must be elastic in nature. So what is the meaning of elastic? Elastic in nature means whenever the particles are vibrating, whenever the body is vibrating, any body is vibrating, it will vibrate the nearer particle. Okay, and the nearer particle started to vibrate. So as they are vibrating, the particle have the tendency to return back their own position. That means if those particles, let me show you, suppose this particle is vibrating. Okay, this particle is vibrating, so it has the tendency, when it is vibrating, it displacing up to this position, so it has the tendency to return back from this position to its mean position. When it go to this position, then again it should be returned back to its mean position. Correct. So this is the tendency of the particle, and this nature is called elastic nature. So the particle obviously is of the medium, so that's why we will say that the medium must be elastic in nature. Correct. Now the second point is that the medium must have inertia. So why it has inertia? Let's see, suppose this one is the particle, okay, and this particle is vibrating toward this and it is striking this particle, and suppose if this particle, let me draw it once again, this one is the particle vibrating displacing toward this, and this one is the second particle. This particle, if this particle has inertia, then whenever this particle hits this particle or strike with this particle, firstly this particle tries to maintain its position, try to maintain its rest position, but as the force is applied by this particle, so this particle will go toward this, and it is going toward this as well as it is applying the same force to this particle. That means I want to say that when this particular particle applying a force on this particle has an inertia, and this particle go toward this because force is applied, but when it is go toward this, it is also applying the same force on this. From the third law of motion you can easily understand. So that means the particles must have inertia. Okay, they are trying to maintain their position of rest, or yeah, position of rest, that is I'm telling. So the second point is clear, the particles must have inertia, the medium must have inertia. The third one is the medium must be frictionless. So why it should be frictionless? Because while the sound is propagating, sound is traveling, we want that there should be less loss of energy. That means no loss of energy. So if the medium is frictionless, there will be no any loss in energy, okay, for the friction. So that's why the property of the medium should be, this one is one of the property of the medium, that the medium should be frictionless. Okay, so the sentence I have mentioned here, the sound cannot be heard in the space or in the absence of atmosphere. Suppose I will take the example, in the moon there is no any atmosphere, and if we shout in the moon, no one can listen us, no one can hear our voice, correct? Even we shout louder, because there is no any medium present in the moon, no any atmosphere. So the sound cannot be carried from one place to another place, sound cannot be traveled from one place to another place. Okay, because sound is travel because of the disturbance, and disturbance is carried by the air particles, and here in the moons there is no any air particle, no, in the absence of atmosphere there is no any air particle. Understood? Here one thing I also want to mention, that in some condition the sound may be absorbed by the particles. Like if we consider a room which is completely filled with clothes, bench, table, curtains, then most of the sound is absorbed. Suppose we are shouting inside the room, then most of the sound is absorbed by those objects that present inside the room, that kept inside the room. But suppose if the room is completely empty, no any object present in the room, then what happened? The sound can produce echo. That means the fact is that I want to tell you that sound may be absorbed by the objects, the surrounding objects, correct? Now we go to the next point, the propagation of sound in air or in any medium. See here, this one all you know that this is a tuning fork in the vibrating condition, correct? These lines you can consider as a layer of air. One line means one layer of air. Okay, so if I ask you that in which section the layer of airs are closer, your answer will be in the C section. Okay, so this section is called the compression. This region is called the compression. Okay, and here in this R region, you can see the layer of airs are away from one another. They are little bit separate from one another. So this region is called rarefaction. Correct. Again, there is a compression and there is a rarefaction. So why this compression and rarefaction is created? So this is a particular disturbance of the medium, correct, that created by this vibrating object. Okay, let's see how. Suppose this one is the metallic strip, or you can consider this one is one of the arm of the tuning fork, which is to be vibrate. When it is started to vibrate, it goes toward the right. Okay, and as it goes toward the right, it will pushes the air particles or layer of air near to it, and in this way the air particles come closer to one another. So this produces a region of compression. Now in the next picture, here this strip or this vibrating body comes back to the mean position. Then what happened? Here it will produces a vacuum or a space. Okay, and as there is a space, now because there is a space, so the air the layer of air now get a complete place or a space, so they are separate, they started to separate from one another, and they create a gap in between them, correct. Again this in the next picture you can see this strip, this vibrating strip is go to this, go toward the left, then it again produces more space or more vacuum. Then what happened, the particles, the layer of air, now they are in the low pressure region, and that's why they created a lot of space in between them. Okay, a lot of space I can't tell, but there is a space in between them. That means they are now trying to separate from one another. Okay, and that's why they are not so closer to one another, even they are away from one another. So this region, this is the region create that is called rarefaction, the region of rarefaction, correct. Now in the next picture you can see again the strip or the vibrating arm comes back to its mean position, and now as it's coming back, so that means it is pushing the air, pushing the layer of air, so it will create again after this rarefaction region, it will again create a compressed region, correct. So in this way the rarefaction and compression is continuously created. That means the disturbance is continuously made by this vibrating object. Let me show you one picture. From this picture you can understand. Here this one is the picture, okay now. See this and try to understand. In the left side, this one is the metallic strip. See the first layer of air, the dotted line you can see. The dotted line is first pushed by the object. Those dotted layer, that means the first layer of air pushes the next layer of air, the next layer pushes to the next layer. But however, no any layer leaves its place, but the disturbance of the layer of air forward. See, if I'll show you, see here, suppose here the compression is created and this compression is forwarding, see, yeah, but that layer of air remains at this particular position. Okay, I think you all have understood this part. You can here notice the dotted blue line. Okay, so see the blue line, it is only vibrating to the right, then to the mean, then to the left, and again to the mean, but it is not leaving its actual position, it is only vibrating it in its around its mean position, correct, and the disturbance is taken forward. So I think all you have understood this part, how the disturbance is taken from one place to another place, and this is the vibrating body, this is actually the vibrating body, this vibrating body creates this disturbance. So I think all of you have understood this part. Now I'm coming back to this point. So here we have, see, after this propagation of sound, we have the sound waves. Okay, the wave actually are of two types, longitudinal and transversal, and sound waves are the longitudinal waves. So what is the meaning of longitudinal wave? See, the longitudinal wave are the waves propagates along the direction of vibration. That means if the direction of vibration and the propagation of wave is same, that means those waves are longitudinal waves. See here in this picture, this tuning fork is vibrating like that, no? That means this vibration is along this arrow and this arrow, and the wave is, that means the compression and rarefaction is forwarding toward this direction, no? It is proceeding toward this direction. So this is the direction of propagation of wave, and the direction of vibration is again like that. Okay, so the vibration is along the propagation of wave, so this type of wave is called longitudinal wave. The sound wave is actually a longitudinal wave. Okay, so if it is longitudinal waves, then what is the next type of wave? It is transverse wave. So see here the transverse wave. Transverse wave are generally observed in the upper surface of the water or liquid or in solids. So what is the difference of transverse wave as compared to the longitudinal wave? See here, you can, from this picture you can easily understand that whenever a stone or any object is dropped on the still surface of water, then what happened, the waves are created like that. Okay, the concentric waves. So here if you see this picture, first I will define the transverse wave. The waves in which the particles of a medium vibrate about their mean position in a direction perpendicular to the direction of propagation of the wave is called transverse wave. So here if you see this is the direction of vibration. That means the waves are, you can see the waves are the surface of water. If you see this circle, it will go up and down, up and down, correct? So this is how the wave is created. If I show you, the wave is created like that. Okay, so the vibration is actually up and down, up and down, but the wave is toward this, it is propagating toward this. So that's why, as the vibration is perpendicular to the propagation of wave, so that's why these type of wave are called transverse wave. Okay, here also we can say that no any particular particle leave its position, only the disturbance proceeding. That means suppose the wave is created from this particular point na? So here whatever the particle of the water remains here, but it will go only just up and down, and the wave is go toward this, not the particle. The disturbance is forwarding toward this, not the particle, correct? So let's see here, this one suppose a cork, okay, and this one is placed on a surface of water, like suppose I can consider that here particular, here at this place the cork is placed. Okay, now see, when the wave is propagating, it is proceeding toward this direction, suppose. Okay, so this particular cork will go up and down. Okay, with the wave we can't say that this cork will go toward this. That means this cork will not displace with the wave, but it will only vibrate up and down at its mean position, at its original position. It will remain here in its position. So what we found here, in the case of transverse wave, the object, like in the longitudinal wave, like in the sound wave, the object or the particle is not displacing, it is only vibrating on its mean position. Okay, but the disturbance is carried with the propagation of wave toward the propagating of wave, correct now? So here the words are given crest and trough. So what is crest and what is trough? See, if I'll define, the position of maximum upward displacement is called crest, while the position of maximum downward displacement, because the layer is vibrating, so sometimes it will go, that means for one time it will go up, this is the displacement, so the maximum displacement to the up is called crest, and then it will come back to the mean position, then go down. So the maximum depth is called, that is the maximum negative displacement is called the trough. So this is what we call crest and troughs. So this crest and trough gives the two maximum displacement in the two different direction while the layer is vibrating up and down. Okay, now the two characteristic I should mention here, two characteristic of wave motion. The first one, those two characteristics we have already studied, but I have to mention those two things. The first one is that a wave produced by periodic disturbance. As you all know, periodic disturbance is created by any vibrating body. A body, if a body continues its vibration, so it will create a periodic disturbance. Periodic disturbance means a disturbance is just repeated. Periodic means a repeated. Okay, a vibration is repeated, so the vibrating body repeatedly disturb the medium. So we will say that a periodic disturbance, repeated disturbance. In common language, in common word, we can say a periodic disturbance or a repeated disturbance. So this is the first point. The wave is produced by periodic disturbance. Now the second point, the propagation of wave. In the propagation of wave, no any particle of the medium leaves its position. Okay, it will only vibrate in its mean position. Like here, this cork is vibrating only in its mean position, but it will not go with the wave. Okay, so it is only the disturbance is propagating, not the particle. So this part is clear. Thank you. দেখা যাক কত ভালো হয়েছে।